I promise you, this is not rage bait, and I'm probably going to get a lot of crap for this video and a lot of pushback, but I don't understand how so many of you have already made up your mind when it comes to the Lindsay Clancy case. We've only seen not even a full witness testimony, and everyone has already decided that this is a not guilty by reason of insanity. People are not being impartial, and they're projecting their own personal experiences with motherhood onto this case. I am absolutely fine with being the minority in this case. And I am the first person to say that mental health and alleged abuse is not anything that should negate responsibility in something as horrific as this. But Lindsay Clancy's case is different. She sought treatment. She sought help. She said she was struggling with her mental health. If I have the ability to be impartial when it comes to this unforgivable act that she committed, I believe everyone else should do the same. And it always gets twisted. Nobody is saying that postpartum psychosis doesn't exist. Nobody is saying that mental health doesn't exist. What I am saying is, if you've already made up your mind, why are you even watching and covering this trial? And at what point is mental health not a good enough excuse? Are you forgetting what those 3 children went through and suffered in their final moments at the hands of the person they trusted the most, their protector? Just because they're not here and they can't speak for themselves doesn't mean we forget what they went through. Lindsay Clancy's defense is hoping to get an NGRI, not guilty by reason of insanity. Hundreds of people are released back into society and communities after they get these verdicts. Now, I'm no expert when it comes to Andrea Yates. I'm just sullen beauty that has a strong interest for true crime. Andrea Yates was given a not guilty by reason of insanity, and in the state of Texas, she is entitled to a yearly review for release. Andrea Yates and her legal team chooses to waive her annual right to a release review because she is receiving the proper medical care that she needs, prefers to live a quiet life of solitude and treatment, and has nowhere else to go. And the reason I'm even talking about Andrea Yates is because there are people that seem to think if Lindsay Clancy gets an NGRI, she's going to be in a mental health facility for the rest of her life. There's no guarantee of that. The masses are saying, oh, blame the doctors. Lindsay was over-medicated. Did you ever stop to think that maybe Lindsay wasn't taking her medication as prescribed to prevent postpartum psychosis? Just a thought. And what about the fact that Patrick Clancy testified that she was only on 4 prescriptions per day? What about the fact that Patrick Clancy had knowledge that Lindsay was having thoughts of harming herself and her children? And I've been saying from day one that this case is a slam dunk NGRI. I've witnessed several people be in a state of psychosis, whether that was drug-induced or due to medical reasons or lack of sleep. And they would not have had the ability to call in a food order, look at how much time it takes to get to that. That just wasn't happening in that state of psychosis. And do you understand how important interpersonal relationships are when people are struggling with their mental health? Whether they're struggling with SSI or psychosis, those interpersonal relationships play a role, a very big role. So I want to read you the results of a study that was conducted. Participants relayed both positive and negative experiences of interpersonal relationships. A novel conceptual model is presented reflecting a highly complex interplay between a range of different societal experiences, psychosis, and aspects of interpersonal relationships. 3 themes fed into this interplay, depicting dynamics between perceptions of not mattering and mattering, becoming disconnected from other people, and constraints versus freedom associated with sharing societal and psychotic experiences with others. Patrick, I'm talking to you. The conclusion of this study states that a detailed insight into ways in which interpersonal relationships are perceived to interact with psychotic and societal experiences in ways that can both be beneficial and challenging. This is important from scientific and clinical perspectives for understanding the complex pathways involved in societal experiences. In my opinion, Lindsay Clancy was extremely lonely and overwhelmed and not feeling supported by her husband. You could have all the shiny things in the world and all the friends, but if your husband isn't supporting you properly, that makes a world of difference. I've only seen day 1 of the trial. Day 2, I will start streaming on my live tonight. So no spoilers. I have no idea what happened in court today, other than I heard there was supposed to be a walkthrough of the home and that they were playing the 911 call. But I want to talk about Lindsay's lawyer a little bit. Lindsay's attorney is Kevin Reddington. He's 75 years old. We know that he's a highly experienced defense attorney. I was not a fan of his opening statement. I thought the prosecution did way better, but I haven't seen him cross-examine anyone yet, so my thoughts on him could change. He graduated from Suffolk University Law School and was admitted to Massachusetts Bar in 1975, so it's not his first rodeo by any means. He's a member of the American College of Trial Lawyers, and this is an honor reserved for only about 1% of trial attorneys. He was named the best criminal defense attorney in the state by Boston Magazine. Okay, Kevin, I see you. Maybe I judged him just a little bit too harshly, but I won't make my final decision until I see his cross-examination skills. That's what really matters to me. I found this part of the news article to be interesting. So Kevin is known to have several tattoos, including one on his shoulder in Latin, translating to never represent an informant, and another one on the other shoulder that says Mona Labe, or come and take them. I mean, I love that. Never represent an informant. Some of his prior clients are notable, including former Boston Red Sox first baseman Mo Vaughn, who was acquitted of drunk driving in 1988. And then in 2003, he represented Reverend Ronald Paquin, a Catholic priest who pled guilty to the rape of a Haverhill altar boy. Disgusting. Oh, listen to this. In 2012, he also represented Catherine Greig, who was a longtime girlfriend of Whitey Bulger, the mob boss. Catherine also pled guilty to harboring a fugitive. Another client of his was Teresa Rogers, a Bridgewater woman accused of murdering her boyfriend by knifing him in the eyes while he slept. Rogers was acquitted in 1989 after Reddington argued that years of abuse led to her form of temporary insanity, known as battered wife syndrome. Thank you so much for watching. I've got to get out of here, go respond to some comments, and get ready for my live stream. Now, if you follow true crime and you want to hear from an unbiased perspective, don't forget to follow or subscribe. And what will always be the most important thing to me is justice for the victims that are no longer living.
I can still see through the lies, plotting up on my demise. But you know that I'm still killing shit. Bitch, I'm killing shit. Run up on you.